So what I wanted to talk about is, if you watched my last video where I said this is what was going to happen, that's exactly what happened. So, haha, you're right. No, I'm just kidding. But so that's why you can trust me. I know what I'm talking about. So I've done some work with forensics and analysis, and I understand these things. And I'm not going to get into why or how or what, but just know that I have that experience. And so using that, what I'm trying to explain is kind of really layman's terms what's really happening, because people are like, oh, the FBI said this or that. Well, I'm more interested in what they're not saying. So what we have now is a released photograph of the person of interest. Now, they don't want to use the word shooter because they are not 100% sure that he's the shooter. Now, you and me, we can call him the shooter if we want, because nobody cares what we think. But they're the actual people that have to prosecute and prove beyond, some sort of, they have to have a reason to make someone a suspect, suspicion, so they can then arrest this person. So they have enough information on this person that they have a picture of him. So let's talk about some kind of interesting forensic pieces that they've got. So they've got a picture that they've sent to the world now and said, hey, look for this guy. We need more information about him. So they do that. Well, if they knew who, then they would release his name and more information about him. So using digital analysis and forensics and AI is actually assisting in some of this work as well. They're even monitoring like the way he stepped. They have gait monitoring. Like they have ways to check who a person is by all kinds of different body language, even if there's voice, or trying to tie him to some sort of recognition. So they're attempting that right now. Realistically, they're down to probably let's say 280 people that would match the description of this person in this vicinity, blah, blah, blah. So they narrow it down. But at the end, they can't be wrong and just go and arrest 250 people and, kind of be like, are you the guy? So they're not going to do that. But what they are going to do is hone in on a certain group of people that they think might be this guy. And so they released a low resolution picture to us. And I don't understand why they do that, because I'm like, give us the best photograph you've got of this guy. So either what they're showing is the best one, or they're holding it back because they are still trying to gather information. All of this because in the digital world, you put a link out, you go to a web page, you do something. There's a digital footprint for what you're doing. In this case, they're looking for actual physical footprints of this person to exist. So whoever this shooter is, like I talked about last time, whenever it's a crime, they say they usually make about 17 mistakes in the passion of a crime. And so they are forensically trying to identify and look for those mistakes. Well, this person sounds like they dumped the right. So they wiped the rifle clean. Even just so you guys know, rifles don't just get bought. Like, you don't go to the store and be like, I'd like to buy a rifle, please, and an extra large burger. No, that's not how this works. You don't have to register it, but if you go to Walmart and buy a gun, that serial number is tied to your name. And so they can quickly get that serial number, run it against the local places that sell guns and say, hey, did you sell this firearm? Also, those firearms are manufactured to a serial number, and they can track where a gun goes. Like, really, if they really need to know, they'll find who bought this gun. And the problem is, let's say he bought it from a friend or some other random dude, and that was let's say a straw purchase or illegal. That person's in serious trouble now if they sold him that rifle, because guess what? It was used in a crime, which puts you in the situation where you're now potentially held liable for a murder, for at least, if nothing else, for a civil suit. But this person was, they don't have the name reported to us or anything yet. But the fact that this person exists, that they've found pictures and stuff, we're getting close. Usually when they're releasing photos, I would guess, this is just, pure speculation, but somewhat educated, that they have about a 10 to 15 mile radius of where this person likely is. And so they are trying to use Ring cameras on people's devices for their doorbells, and from whatever other footage they have of a person running into a neighborhood. Like, you should see the stuff they come up with my neighborhood. They're like, hey, whose dog is this? And you're like, what the hell? How'd they get that? But they have these just footages going all the time. So don't walk around naked, you're gonna get caught. But in this case, this person walked into a neighborhood, which it's not any neighborhood these days, even if it was not a wealthy neighborhood, still likely has some Ring cameras here and there because they're not that expensive. So people have footage of this person, and so the police and the FBI, they literally go to these homes and they go, we need to see this footage. And of course, people are going to say, sure, okay. They don't really necessarily even have a choice. The police can subpoena it if they need to with a judge and court order pretty quickly. So in this kind of event, obviously people are going to cooperate very quickly because they're not going to have a choice. So your footage on your phone, anything you do, is all something that could be very, so just always keep that in mind. But in this case, there will be some more footage that will show up where this person is. And so they have the ability with forensics to use time analysis and distance and travel. And so this, one of the things that it's interesting, this guy jumped off a roof. You don't just jump off a roof and usually walk away. That's probably going to make you, in some ways, not necessarily injured, but I mean, that's going to hurt somehow. And so they can actually look and analyze a group of people walking or running, and they can say this particular person's step, or they call it a gait. They can track that and monitor that and look for that in other digital photos, videos, or whatever. So my guess is within 24 hours, they'll likely have a name of this person. We live in a very digitally forensic friendly world. And so they will be able to find this person with a match online. The challenge is, of course, the sunglasses. That messes it up with trying to determine, like, using AI and facial recognition. It's good, but it's not great. And so just seeing like this much of somebody isn't enough to say, oh, I know whose nose and mouth that is. But it narrows it down. They know that this person is not a Chinese female. I mean, so there's certain things that they already are like narrowing this down. And then they said they will put that forensic stuff at airports, look for gas station footages and everything. Because if this person was actually, I've heard some people saying they think he's leaving and might leave the country. If they really consider him a flight risk, what they would obviously do is notify the authorities in the trains, the boats, any ports of authority, and then also in our airlines, they would notify them and say, hey, with anybody matching this kind of description, yeah, you're not going to let them on the plane. And the reason why I have such confidence they're going to find this person is because the President of the United States has basically said in so many words, I'm looking for you and I'm going to get you. That's what they said with Saddam Hussein and Osama bin Laden, and guess what? They found those guys, and they were much better at hiding and had a lot more support than some potentially lone gunmen. So I would give it about 24 hours before we have a name, and then I would hope, but maybe likely 36 to 48 hours after that, we'll find the person. But my fear is they're hauled up somewhere, hiding with a pistol, and they're going to cowardly shoot themselves, and we're never going to know much of their story, which is the worst thing that happens in this case, because there's nobody that can answer why. If we can at least say, why'd you do it, give some people peace, but it's still, I mean, it's obviously a tragedy, but it's at least something. But if it's just a person that blows their head off because they're a coward hiding in a closet or a bathroom somewhere, then we won't know what motivated them to do this. Some ways, though, that's better, because if they say, oh, it's because of this political party or whatever, then everybody's gonna all get all spun up and upset. And I have to tell you guys, no matter what someone says about either side of the political scenario, just know that someone like me, I wouldn't consider myself really anything. I'm a Christian, I have faith, but I love everybody. I don't care if they're a liberal or a conservative. I don't care if you're, an atheist, or you're lesbian or gay or straight or married. None of that matters to me, because I care about you as a person. You are God's creation. God loves everybody. So as a person of faith, you should be happy I have faith, because I love everybody because I'm commanded to. And when you change your life over and you have God inside of you, and it's hard to explain to someone who doesn't, but just trust me, it makes you have more love for everyone. And so I love everybody. And I have friends that are all over the place. I have friends that are liberals that are really just like, they hate guns and they hate all kinds of stuff that are conservative. I have conservative friends that are insane and they're just like hate all the liberals. And my job really is I try to tell everybody hate is the worst thing no matter what. I don't hate anybody. Instead, I love everybody and I try to empathize with their situation. I have friends that are close to me that are either, let's say they're African American, or they're from Asian descent, or they're Hispanic, or they're gay, or they're straight, or any of those things. I have all friends from all different walks of life, and I love all of them. And some of my favorite people in life, believe it or not, there's a couple lesbian friends of mine. I'm not going to say their names, but they know who they are. Amazing people. I love them so much. And they're the ones that make me laugh, and I've done things with them to hang out, and we just have a great relationship. And so the thing is it doesn't have anything to do with being lesbian. It's just that is their lifestyle, and it's like, okay, and what else? And so we find things that are in common. Now, I'm not going to say we both like women, because that's a funny thing to have in common. But the point is that I love everybody, because God created everybody, and he told us to love everyone. And so that's what we're going to do. And so we are not going to, as people watching this, I appreciate you watching, but know that we're, as a people, we're going to find this person, and no matter what, we're going to get some sort of resolve for the situation. But in your hearts, make sure that you are loving other people, and knowing that if you're a Christian, that's great. Show people what Christian means, because Jesus, I promise, would not be shooting people or rioting or causing problems or hating or posting mean stuff. Jesus said, I don't go to the, when they found Jesus around, where did they find him? He was out there with prostitutes and tax collectors, and they're like, what kind of spiritual men are you? And he's like, do the sick need a doctor, or the ones that are healthy? He's like, I'm here to help people that need my help. And you know what, those people, when they said sick, it's because they had something wrong inside of them. They had sin, just like the other Pharisees. But the Pharisees, Jesus didn't want to, he talked to them all the time, and it was like bouncing off them. It was a reflection of just nothing. So Jesus went to the people that actually loved him, and just recognized that they're like, hey, I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy to be anything close to you. And Jesus was so kind and compassionate to them. And so that compassion and that kindness needs to be something that we as people demonstrate towards others. So for all my friends that are liberals, all my friends that are conservatives, I don't care if you're straight or gay or black or white or any of this, know that I love everybody, and I am a fan of every single person, and I hurt when other people hurt. And so whenever whenever someone needs prayer, please post it. Let me know that you need prayer. I'll pray for you. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you've been through or what it is, because I care. And that's why I do this channel, is because I genuinely do care. And some people go, I don't know why you care, but it's just because of who I am. It's who God has made me to be. I'm someone that loves everybody. And so my heart aches for Charlie Kirk, but my heart also aches for the mother of the person that shot this guy, because that mother, I know what it's like. I have a mother. I also am married to a mother. So I got that. They love their kids, and I love my kids. And if my kids did something terrible, that would break my heart. So understand that there's pain all the way around this, and focusing and hating on one person is just toxic. And so instead, I challenge everybody to take this time. Today is a new day. It's September 11th. We all know what today is. I remember when I woke up on September 11th and the day unfolded, and it was tragic. But again, as Americans, you know what we did in September 11th? Because I remember I was 19 years old. We rallied like nobody else. We had flags. We loved everyone. We were like, I don't care if you're straight or gay. I don't care if you're conservative or liberal. We're American, dang it. And we love our country. And we're going to find who did this, and we're going to unite against them. So today, let's unite against the evil that is out there. This isn't about guns. This isn't about liberals or Democrats or Republicans or any of these other groups. No, this is targeted hate towards an idea. And I will not support people that hate, period. If Charlie Kirk hated, I'd still love the guy and say, hey, I appreciate, I like who you are, because I can either be a fan of somebody or say I don't acknowledge that what they do is right. But I would also tell you that I would mourn his loss, even if it was someone that I didn't respect, because God loves everybody, and he's not a respecter of persons, is what the Bible says. So whatever a man sows, that's what they also reap. So if you're a bad person, you're going to have bad things happen to you, but God doesn't want that to be that way. That's just the reality of how it is. So understand that in our lives and in our faith, in our communities, we need to show love towards everybody. Love your neighbor as yourself. Just like Mirtha, as you mentioned in there. That's so true. We need to just love everybody. And that sounds so cheesy. I always did when I was younger. I was like, oh, that sounds kind of dumb. But love means take out your neighbor's trash for them. Love means doing things that you normally wouldn't do, because these are your neighbors. They're people that are in your life all the time. And they might, like I have friends, like I said, I know people that are super liberal, and I think that's something that they hate about me. But they don't hate me. They just hate my perspective because they don't agree with me. but they don't hate me. And if they did, I feel very sorry for them, because you know what? The biggest part of what's hurting in people is on the inside. If you hate someone, that doesn't affect them. When you hate someone, what it does instead is it poisons you. And that's what people don't really understand. So in this shooter person, wherever he is, think of the torment that he has to have right now inside of him, knowing everybody's looking for him. And the darkness that's inside that's got him to do this is now kind of turned against him and made him feel guilt. You have to feel guilt for killing someone. You just have to. And so that guilt is tearing this person apart. And he feels awful, I would hope. But he's also scared. And he's alone, very likely. And so that is all tragic. This is a person that, again, none of us like. This is a murderer. This is an assassin. But it is also a lost person who made a terrible decision and has caused a huge storm. But we have the choice to not let that person be in our lives, because we're not going to accept that kind of hate and push that out. So instead, we're going to use it and turn it around and have love for everybody. Because again, Charlie Kirk's pain is gone, but that person, his hatred towards Charlie Kirk, what has it turned into now? Think about it. His mission of killing and assassinating Charlie Kirk, he's done it. But he obviously realizes that he's literally kicked over an anthill, because now one ant has turned into thousands of them. And so there's all these people following and looking and reading. And so everybody, I have people that I know that they're like, I didn't even know who Charlie Kirk was, and now I can't stop reading about him. So Charlie Kirk has become a martyr for his faith and his belief because of this person. So that's got to make this assassin even more upset, because he's literally ruined what he was trying to accomplish. So guys, point is violence is never acceptable. Violence is never tolerated, and it shouldn't be. And so when it is sad that the last word on Charlie Kirk's mouth was the word violence. That was what he said before he was shot. Watch the video. It's so sad. But my heart goes out to his family. My kid's devastated, because he respected him for going to colleges and just speaking and having debates. And he never punched anybody. If he went to colleges and was thugging people and kicking them and throwing rocks and tomatoes at people and stuff, then my son and nobody else that I know would be like, I like that guy, I respect him. But most people would say, I don't agree with what he says, but I appreciate his approach and how he behaves in a professional manner. He's going back and forth with these college kids, and he's trying to debate with them and trying to get to substance, because people get all riled up and they say all kinds of stuff, but they never end up actually having any substance what they believe. I used to say a lot of things about raising children and being married and stuff, but let me tell you, until I adopted kids, or until I had my other two kids, I didn't really know anything about parenting until I had my children. And then I didn't really know anything about loving other children and making them mine until I adopted two kids. And when I did that, let me tell you, my heart grew infinitely more. So now I have 4 kids, period. I don't have 2 and 2. I have 4 children. I've also been through a divorce. You can be judgmental all you want and say, divorce is terrible. I understand. I didn't want to go through a divorce. The divorce happened to me. And so now I can speak towards what the wisdom of in a relationship and how things happen, and just understanding that sometimes life breaks. And so I know all these things because I've lived them. My experience tells me that. And so I could speak in a debate towards another person and go, hey, I've lived this. It's not just me regurgitating information that someone else told me. Until last night, literally last night, my son comes into our room and he is crying because he has a foot cramp, and he has them occasionally. And so half awake at midnight, I get up and I'm like, hey, buddy, you okay? And he's like, oh, my foot hurts. And he's half asleep. And so I go over and I warm up a hot sock inside, rice. I put rice inside a hot sock and I keep it in the thing. And so anyway, I microwave it, give it to him, give him his ibuprofen, pat him, and he goes to sleep. Until you have a child, you don't know what that's like to be like, people like, I'm sleeping, leave me alone. I don't want to be interrupted. But when you're a dad or a mom, you're like, dude, I don't care when you come in. You're my son. If you're hurting, I'm going to be there for you. That's my job. That's what I signed on for. So, and I just want you guys to know that same passion being a parent is something that is in me, and I love everyone with the same passion. So please, if you need something, if you're like, yay, you know what? I need prayer, or I'm scared, or whatever, go ahead, send me a message, talk to me. Please like and subscribe. It's not because this, like I said, this channel isn't monetized. This is literally just my channel where I talk about my faith and my beliefs and everything. My other channel is about automotive. You want to watch that? I got like 20,000 subscribers on that one. That's a much more successful channel, but this is where my heart is. This channel right here, telling you guys that Jesus loves you, I love you, and we have hope and we have faith as a country and as a society. We can do better. We're gonna do better. So let's all start today doing more things positive. And I want to hear about some of those positivity things that you guys have in the future. Thanks so much, guys, for sticking with me. I appreciate and love you all, and I'll talk to you guys later on the channel.